qualified, and I'm going to lose my sportsmanship points, okay? So, the last thing here is you don't need to slow down, so don't worry about slowing down your player that gets caught from behind. You just have to yield. They can keep running fast. Once the kid's by them, keep going. Just go back to that lane that you were in before. Make sense? All right. Three-legged race. All right. 2 players, 2 laps. There's a tag rule in this one. Tag rule means if I get passed or tagged, if I get, somebody, they reach out and touch me, I'm out of the game, okay? For Trek and Journey, if you fall down, that means a knee hits the ground, okay? Game over. For TNT, they fall down and get back up. I would suggest that as a coach, you teach your kids how to pass people and how to pass people that are on the ground, okay? I've seen people make a beautiful hurdle and jump over people, and I've seen people try to hurdle them and end up crashing on top of them and getting passed by somebody else. So teach them how to pass one another, all right? This one, touch pin in the middle, dive for it, yeah. What else can happen in here? Any other things you think of? No?
You can dive for it, for this one?
Oh,
Yeah.
dive for every time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like a law of God. You have to.
So here's the thing about diving.
Not quite.
A lot of churches in their club might have a rule, no diving. Okay? Diving is the fastest way of getting there. And believe it or not, not just for three-legged race, it's the one that can cause less of an injury if there's a collision. If I'm diving, my hands are out in front of me. I'm not leading with my head when I'm standing up trying to hit that baton, or hit that pin. I will say about that center pin, and this can only happen with the older kids, all right? But if I hit my touch pin and I continue flying through the middle, and this team on the opposite side is coming in there, and I plow into them, I'm disqualified. Even though I've already hit that thing, because I've interfered with them, okay? Your kids, if they dive, if they keep sliding and they end up over here, they dove way too late. The oldest kids, they will cross that circle and they will dive from there and they can get it. It's 15 feet from here to here, right? And it's really only 10 feet that they got to dive, right? So even your TNTers, they take one step around there if they dive. I used to always call it Superman, but nobody knows who that is anymore. It's Iron Man or whatever, and dive, they can hit that pin, all right? No problem. But if they end up sliding all the way over here, then it could be a problem. One other thing about the touch pins in the center. If a touch pin gets touched by your team, they are signaling to the judges and the circle director that they have completed the game. So if you're in the beanbag relay and your player is throwing the beanbag, or if it's the basketball relay, they're passing the basketball, and they knock over any of the touch pins, they have just told the circle director, I've completed the game. Even though they haven't. They're disqualified. All right? So, yeah, all right, we're good with that? All right, let's jump on the tag rule. Moving out of the way, I think we got all that. Yeah, this is the one game that sometimes people get sent flying on when they get past with the stiff arm. So there is a way of doing it by putting your arm out there and sliding by them without smacking them, right? Teach your kids how to do it without getting hurt, all right? Where we go? Did I just skip one? No. All right, tug of war. There's different kinds of rope for TNT and Trek Journey. TNT is a nice round rope. Trek Journey, it kind of looks like a 4-legged or a 3-legged spider, all right? So we'll talk about TNT first. So the kids are going to be evenly spaced on that round rope. Their hands are going to be together, all right? So my hands are like this. My partner's hands are right next to mine like this at the start of the game. Everybody's standing up. Circle director makes sure that you can go like that. You can go like this. Hands are together, all right? So be like that and be like that. I will tell you if they're like this, you're not as strong. You're stronger this way. But hands are together. The gun goes off. Everybody starts pulling. or the whistle goes off, the game starts, all right? Line judges back here, they're gonna move the beanbag up every 15 or 10 seconds. I think it's every 10 seconds. We do it for TNT, every 15 for track journey. This X is where you as a coach can be, all right? You can be seated there, preferably not standing because there are people behind you at that point. It's one thing to be standing when you're outside here, but over here you might be blocking spectators' views. All right, so you're here and you can encourage your kids. All right, that's TNT only. Trek Journey, you're always behind the line. All right, I would say be standing and be off to the side because if your kids come off the rope, all of a sudden you've got 100, 200 pounds flying back at you. That's why the judge is not seated either. They're on their toes, ready to get out of the way in case somebody flies back at them. You have to maintain possession of the beanbag and the rope to have completed the game. How long that possession is, you're hanging on the rope a second. As long as that judge thinks it's long enough and the circle director is watching, the game, although, does not stop until the circle director blows their whistle. All right? We've had teams that didn't grab the beanbag correctly. It came off the rope. All the other teams stopped playing along with that team. They all walked out of the square. All right? The judges and the circle director, we didn't move. And when they all walked out of the square, that says that we're done playing. And at that point, nobody got any points for winning that game because nobody completed the game. All right? So teach your kids to keep playing until they hear the whistle. All right? For Trek and Journey, it's this spider. So you've got this long piece of rope kind of hanging off here with a little loop on the end. All right? Your kids grab onto that rope. They get themselves ready to go. The rope is taut, but they're not pulling yet. Same thing with TNT. The rope is taut, but you're not pulling yet. They get ready. Game starts. Every 15 seconds, the beanbag comes up. With Trek and Journey, you'll see a lot more cat and mouse kind of thing going on where kids are on the ground and they're holding the rope steady, and every few seconds they might pop up and start pulling, all right? And then sit back down and hold the rope.
Do both your players, because you have two kids on your team, are they both started toward the triangle? They both have to start out?
So there's certain lines that they have to be between, but the rope is kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then there's a center thing. So you can't be pulling off this direction or this direction, right? Because this rope, I can actually be pulling off this direction. I'll be disqualified. I have to pull towards my beanbag.
But can that second kid be back by the loop and be at the end of
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And isn't it farther back?
Yeah, so I don't have it here. The beanbags for Trek and Journey, they're like way back here.
Okay.
Because that long piece of rope, it's long.
Right.
I will suggest for your game time, have your TNTers play with that big long rope. You can fit 3 or 4 of them on that thing. I mean, it's not going to help them for the Awana games, but it's a lot of fun to watch them play it that way. So these, by the time they're in high school, I mean, these are big bodied kids there. Some of those boys are like huge, right? So again, be careful when you're back here. If they come off the rope, they're like a missile coming back at you. Any other questions on that one? All right.
It's also one of the places where we had to introduce a new spirit of the game.
Yes, you have to pull, it doesn't matter if it's a Trek and Journey or TNT, you have to pull towards your beanbag. So we had it happen in the past where this team over here was trying to make sure that the team that was over here didn't win, because if they won, they'd win the meet. So instead of pulling towards their beanbag, they swung all the way over here. So now it was like these two were against 4 over here. All right? I'm sorry, that's not in the spirit of the game. You're disqualified. Okay? And it's not only disqualified, it's unsportsmanlike conduct. You don't get your honor points. Are we good on Tug? All right. Sprint and marathon races. No tag rule. So if I catch somebody, it's the passing rule. I pass them, all right? They have to yield that inside lane for me to run around. The number of laps varies, okay? For the younger kids, a sprint is 3 laps. For the older kid, I believe it's 4. Marathon is like 8 for the older kids. So look at your rule book and get your number of laps down. The judge is not going to tell you when to go in. The judge is counting the number of laps, all right? And they're not counting on their finger, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're kind of maybe got them behind their back or whatever. But even if you are looking at the judge's fingers, it's your job as a coach to make sure your kid runs the same number, the correct number of laps. You run an extra lap, let's say that I'm supposed to go in here. It doesn't matter what running game it is. If I'm supposed to go in on red, all right, and I end up down here, I'm not supposed to go in on yellow. I'm supposed to go in on red. I got to continue around and run an extra lap, okay? So that's why you as a coach, because if you run an extra lap, you've lost, okay? So you as a coach, you're standing over here by that line judge, all right? You're not blocking his view, and you count off for your kids, okay? We've seen everybody do it from numbers that they're holding up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or just not doing anything and just telling them when to go in. It's up to you as a coach, all right? You good on that one? Any questions, Dave?
Going back to the rope pull,
Nope.
reminder that for Trek and Journey, again, that you mentioned it, but we don't have lines up there, that they're back here that they're pulling towards. And it is 17, 18, 19? 18,
The circle is 15 feet. So
yeah, it's like 18 for the first, 17 or 18 to the first one. So that we have the tape out there. It is a long distance, and it's not just in there. So.
All right. All right, what next? Balloon volley is only TNT. This would be terrifying if it was Trek and Journey. The judges are in the what? I had some line judges play this once when we had some extra time, and it was kind of scary watching them throw one another around out there.
Suplex.
As judges, we hate three-ways. And this is the game that we hate three-ways the most on, all right? Because it's not nice little quadrants here. Pins are set up here and over here and over here. And it's a horrible game when it's a three-way to try to get your kids to know which direction or which lines they got to aim for, okay? Because one of the teams, like if it's this blue one here, their zone would be all the way over to here. So it's all of this and that. And then the other team would be from here to here, and the other team from here to here. It's horrible, okay? And we've seen teams that were on the red line seated there, but their space that they had hit over was from here to over here. They hit it over here, they just gave it to blue. Does it make sense? So the circle director will kind of explain which directions, but they do it very quickly. Yes?
How soon do we know if we're on a three-way? Like before?
Friday night.
If a team quits on me at
We've had teams quit
At
2 days beforehand. We've had teams register on Thursday.
Gotcha.
and so, yeah, there have been times, I mean, we'll give you the best information that we have. That's why we have the deadlines to get people to into there and say, okay, if you're going to quit, please let me know now, and just don't and not show up. We've had to do three-ways on the fly because the team didn't show up. And
So I would say, when you know it, even if you're on the floor as a coach, if you've got two coaches and I'm supposed to be on this red line and the line is from here to here, have a coach stand here, have a coach stand here. All right? And then you're telling your kids, guys, because we're going to set up 2 pins here. We're going to set a red and a blue pin up here. We'll set up a red and a yellow over here, and we'll set up the other color over here, right? So that your kids will hopefully see that they have to go in between those 2 red pins. And you as a coach, if you can tell them that, the circle director will try to quickly explain it. He's going to say, red team, who's red team? They're going to raise their hand and go, you're going over here. And he said, who's blue team? You're over here. And it is almost as fast as I just did it, because we're trying to get a meet done in an hour and 10 minutes, okay?
what I will also, we also probably would allow for your players in your shirts to stand by inside your pin,
No,
outside the line,
no player standing, because then it blocks people.
or at least be positioned
So
close to
a
their
judge is going to be standing right by those pins.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if it's a 4-way judge standing in the corner, they're looking down the lines, and once the balloon crosses, they go like this, right? So we're going to have a judge is still in the corner, and it's the circle director's job from the middle of the circle to see which side of those pins the balloon went on. Okay? It doesn't happen that often that it's that close, between that thing. But what happens is a lot of times, I see it as a circuit director, they will be jumping up and down, thinking they've won and they've hit it over here, and really all they did was they hit it over the other team's line on a three-way. Again, this is why, as officials, we just dislike three-ways. It's for this game, because it's so difficult to judge. Ken, actually years ago, we would do it traditionally where this line might be the line where there's no team, and so you had to go over blue, green, or yellow.
Yeah.
What happened was green won every time,
Yeah.
because nobody's pushing the balloon back that way. So it's actually not fair if we just have it, this line nobody aims for. All right, we good with that? Okay. Now we have beanbag bonanza. Lots of ways to get disqualified in beanbag bonanza. You have your 5 players, they are evenly spaced. They are shoulder width apart. That means by evenly spaced, your middle clubber is right in the middle, all right? 1 arm length, they go like this, all right? And they touch the shoulder of the person next to them, okay? And that's how close they are. They're not like fingertip to fingertip, 1 arm, okay? And there's evenly spaced. Beanbag starts here, you got another beanbag out here,